Every town has one. A place that everyone knows about. A place where no one goes. That scary place. I've heard rumors of an incredible treasure being buried deep inside the bowels of my town's scary place. A treasure that might be worth it. Today, we are going to the absolute scariest place in town to hunt for treasure. Today, we are going to Walmart. Alright guys, it is 11:32 a.m. We have officially arrived at the spot, and I'm just out here kind of trying to collect myself, trying to brace myself, just some mental preparation for what I am about to walk into, because you never know what you're going to experience. You know, the horrors that you're going to go through when you walk into a place like this. We could see a white guy with dreadlocks. We could see a fat, stinky girl in Cookie Monster pajama pants. Or worse. I don't even want to say this out loud. I'm actually kind of shuddering at the thought of this, but we could see that one super annoying person from school that hasn't seen you in public for 15 years and just wants to talk to you for way too long. Oh man, I hope I didn't just jinx myself. But, you know, we got to do what we got to do for these scores, and I think that these Goosebumps scores will be worth it if we can come out alive on the other end. So I think it's time to head inside and see what we can find. Oh! Do they have the full set? We've got Slappy. We've got the Mud Monster. We've got the Haunted Mask. We've got the Scarecrow. And we've got the Mummy. And I do believe, is that the full set? I think there's 5. Yeah. Looks like there's 5 there. I'm not sure which of these is going to look better because it looks like there's 2 of each. So I will have to run through those and just see which one looks the best. But we've got the full set, dude. I'm super, super stoked. I put my original Mud Monster back because both of these paint jobs are pretty similar, but this one seems a little harsher. Like the contrast between the 2 browns that they use there is pretty crazy, and I think this one's a little tamer. So I'm going to get this one, and I am content with the rest. They all look really good, so I think I'm going to grab these and get the F out of here. Will say I am extremely surprised that our Walmart had these. Typically with NECA stuff, Trick or Treat Studios, pretty much any of this horror collectible stuff, they are so behind on getting this stuff in, so I can't believe that they actually have it here. I am surprised and impressed. Okay guys, we made it out alive. I can't believe it. I didn't run into any X's, no greeters trying to check my receipt on the way out. I didn't even have someone try to sell me a shitty Cricket wireless phone and plan. It's unbelievable. We got really lucky today, and now we are headed home. Although I will say, they ID'd me to buy these toys. Like when I went through the self-checkout thing, the screen literally said that I needed my ID checked for the Goosebumps toys. So the lady had to come over and check my ID. And I thought it was funny because that's super weird, but maybe it's like a reverse thing. Like you don't have to be old enough to buy them. You have to be young enough to buy them. Like Walmart's like, dude, you're a grown man. Why are you buying these toys? We need to check your ID and see if you're a child or not. But I got the toys. They look great. The boxes are in superb condition. I still can't believe that our Walmart had these things already. So super stoked. Now let's go home and review them. Okay? All right, guys, so we have made it back to the House of Masks. We are here in the sanctuary, ready to take a look at these guys. I am going to go over them one by one and just give you guys my initial thoughts on these pieces and on the line in general. And the first thing that I have to say is that they have absolutely nailed the packaging. These things look amazing. I think that the size is perfect. I saw some people, weirdly enough, complaining about the size of these boxes, and I think that that is just absurd. I think that these are the perfect size shelf pieces. That way, if you want to keep them in the box, they will still look great in the box, even though they are pretty small inside of the box themselves. But I just think that the overall packaging on these is amazing, and most of that is due to the fact that they look like the old original series of books. And this is something that we have been missing from Goosebumps for a long time. I don't understand why the new wave of Goosebumps just can't seem to nail this nostalgic marketing. We want the old, slimy, original Goosebumps look. That is half the reason that we thought Goosebumps was so cool back in the day, because it looked awesome. So these vintage 90s-esque looking book cover pieces that they have done for these boxes is just absolutely perfect. I think that they nailed it. I think that everybody that is going to be producing Goosebumps merchandise from now on should take note of this, and I think that these are going to sell really well because it scratches that itch that us original Goosebumps fans have. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about are the character selections that we got from this first line, and hopefully that's exactly what this is. Hopefully this is the first line out of many, because there are just so many good Goosebumps characters and such good creature design when it came to the vintage Goosebumps stories and the art that was on the book covers, that this line of figures could just keep going, just waves and waves. Series 1, Series 2, we could have all sorts of stuff, but we've got the first line here, and I want to talk about these choices because I think that they absolutely nailed that as well. In fact, I love all of these, including the Build a Bonehead Curly option, where they put in a random piece of Curly with each one of these pieces so that you can actually build Curly, the Goosebumps mascot, if you buy the full line of these figures. In fact, the only one that I'm a little indifferent about is the Mummy, and that's only because he's my least favorite out of this original line. Now, you've got your obvious choices like the Haunted Mask and Carly Beth, and Slappy the Dummy from Night of the Living Dummy, and then you've got these other three. We've got the Mud Monster, the Scarecrow, and the Mummy, and I feel like these are the odd choices, and not to say that they are odd choices, they're just not as obvious as the Haunted Mask or as Slappy. I love that they included these two. I think that the Scarecrow and the Mud Monster are both highly underrated Goosebumps creatures, Goosebumps villains, whatever you want to call them. And again, I am just a little indifferent about the Mummy because I almost feel like I would have rather seen the Night in Terror Tower Executioner, and it would have almost evened this line out a little bit, because as you can see, the Mud Monster is a pretty big figure, and he is the only one that is like oversized in terms of these characters right here. He is obviously the right proportion to go with the rest of these guys, but for instance, Slappy is extremely small because he is a ventriloquist dummy. And then the Mummy, the Scarecrow, and Carly Beth are all pretty normal size. Carly Beth's a little smaller because she is a child, but the Mud Monster is massive, and I feel like it would have been a nice visual to have all of these guys out on a shelf with the Mud Monster on one side and the big Executioner from A Night in Terror Tower on the other side. But I will say, I do like the Mummy. In fact, out of all 5 of the Trick or Treat Studios Goosebumps vinyl masks that came out alongside these guys, now obviously they hit the shelves a lot faster and people started receiving those masks a lot quicker than these things did, but they all kind of premiered or debuted around the same time. But out of those 5 vinyl masks, the Mummy mask was my favorite. It just looked amazing. I loved the colors that they used on the paint and the finish, and I love the sculpt. I mean, everything about it was perfect. So it's kind of weird that the Mummy figure is my least favorite out of this line, but the Mummy mask was my favorite out of the vinyl mask line that Trick or Treat Studios did alongside these official figures. Regardless, they are all great, and again, hopefully this is just series 1 of a few more series of Goosebumps figures to come out, because again, there are just so many cool creatures that we could get in the future. We could get the Haunted Mask 2, we could get a Camp Jelly Jam figure, we could get a Shocker on Shock Street figure. Imagine a giant praying mantis looming over all of these guys, or the blob that ate everything. Imagine if they started doing Series 2000 figures. The possibilities are just absolutely endless and out of this world, and hopefully it's only up from here. I would really like if these things sold well so that Trick or Treat Studios invested more and more and more into Goosebumps, and we started getting some real Goosebumps merchandise back on the shelves. And real quick, before we leave the topic of the character picks, I want to shine some light on the Scarecrow, because I talked about the masks that were released alongside these guys earlier in the video, and there were 5 masks, and I feel like we could definitely end up with a Scarecrow mask. That is such a cool looking Scarecrow. I don't necessarily think that it would make a great vinyl mask, because none of those masks had any additions, and since the Scarecrow is obviously just a bunch of burlap, I think that it would make a really cool one-off mask, kind of like how they did with the Haunted Mask from the original run that Trick or Treat Studios did with Goosebumps. They did the Haunted Mask 2, they did a Jack-o'-lantern, and they did a TV Slappy mask. And I think that if they were to come back and do a burlap Scarecrow, that would just be absolutely awesome. So yeah, other than that, dude, I really don't have too much to say about these pieces. I will say that every single piece is pretty much perfect. These look leaps and bounds better than even some of the NECA releases that I've seen on the shelves recently, and I think that that is pretty commendable. The sculpts look fantastic. They look just like the book cover art. The paint looks fantastic. It looks just like the book cover art, and just overall, I mean, the entire presentation is absolutely perfect. So I will give you guys a nice up-close look at each one of these pieces at the end of the video. I'm not going to take these out of the box. I will probably grab another set of these so that I can have a loose set and a closed set, and I'll probably just display each figure in front of the boxed, sealed sets, if that makes any sense. Now, keep in mind that I have pretty much done nothing but praise these pieces in this video and praise Trick or Treat Studios for what they're doing here, and that is because it is the truth, and I am going to do my best to never lie to you guys. And if only I could get Trick or Treat Studios to notice or care when I say stuff like this, when it's actually true and I praise their product, as much as they notice me saying not even negative things about their product. Literally, the reason that you guys don't see Trick or Treat Studios and myself working together is because when they debuted the Michael Myers figures, they hadn't even hit shelves yet. I was kind of doing like a first reaction, first review type video, and I said that I don't prefer cloth clothing on figures. I like when the clothing is like this. It's like sculpted onto the figures, and I literally said that is just my personal preference. I'm sure that there are people out there that totally disagree and prefer the cloth clothing, and Trick or Treat Studios felt insulted by that. I don't know how, I don't know why. It's a really weird thing to be upset about, but yeah, that is the reason. I've seen people asking why we don't do stuff together, and that is literally the reason, straight from one of the owners. They told me that themselves, and it just is what it is. So, I mean, I guess that's just where that stands for some reason. Tots, I would love to work with you guys. This is me extending my olive branch because I do think that you guys do a lot of good for the collector circuit, and I appreciate the good stuff that you guys do. Yes, I just said do. But hey, dude, it sounds like it's time to wrap this video up, and we're gonna do that the same exact way that we end all of the unboxings and reviews on this channel, and that is with some nice up-close shots of these pieces. That way you guys can see all of the beautiful Trick or Treat Studios detail. I won't be able to stick these in my collection right now, so I can't really give you like an updated collection shot with these in it, and that's just because I don't have the room out there. We have yet to extend those shelves that we started building, but as soon as that's over, I promise I will get some sort of update up for you and show these guys off there as well. But for right now, we just have to end with the up-close hero shots, and that'll be that. So until next time, this has been AJ Good here at the House of Masks telling you to say no to drugs and alcohol, and yes to Trick or Treat Studios, and yes to Vintage Goosebumps, and yes to the House of Masks. We're almost at 200,000 subscribers, and we will see you guys in the next one.